Hello, good evening, and welcome to the FB4 Daily. It feels like we have been away for ages, but literally we just took Saturday and Sunday off, and then we done a club podcast last night, which I hope you go back and listen to because it was really, really good. I got to host it for the first time, and I don't know how long, and the lads were absolutely brilliant on all sorts of topics. Tonight, of course, is brought to you by Paddy Power. A bookie's a website and an app, and look, if you gamble, absolutely gamble responsibly. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. But if you do, odds on Liverpool, specials on Liverpool, odds on all other sports. You know how it works by now. Tonight, my guest is Chris Brack, a regular on this show now at this stage. He's not really a guest; he's just more part of the furniture now. He's just about over the Genk flu, which is good, and because last week people were really, really concerned that he may need probably a half litre of Vicks just to get through the show, but he's okay tonight. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm a lot healthier than I was the last time we spoke.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. I think you're just down to an annoying little cough now at this stage.
I am, yeah. I call it the Mourinho.
yeah. Look, it's a strange night. I think that's the best way to put it.
Nothing's happened. Nothing's happened, has it?
No, well, you know, I wanted to come on here and I wanted to start to build up around Spurs, not Spurs, Crystal Palace. I am going to talk about Spurs, but Crystal Palace, I wanted to go on and talk about that, start to build up. You know, it's Tuesday night now. We have a couple of shows, 3-4 shows probably, before we get to the game on Saturday at 3 p.m. kickoff. And I wanted to go and talk about that. But obviously the big news that come out tonight, and I know it's not Liverpool related, but it's a big story in football, and that is that Mauricio Pochettino has left Spurs, and the words being used are relieved of his duties.
Sacked.
Are you shocked by this?
I'm not shocked he's gone because it felt like since the Champions League final he's been on borrowed time. That whole if I win the Champions League with Spurs, I may as well leave because I can't take him any further. Doesn't instill a lot of confidence in what he's going to do this year, and the form wasn't great. But I'm just surprised they left it so long, or why they decided to sack him or relieve him his duty, whatever line you want to use, 4 days before the Premier League starts. Why, they've had like 2 weeks. Why didn't they sack him at the beginning? A bit like we did with Rodgers. Sack him at the beginning, get the new guy in, give him time to work with a few players. Because now they're in that caretaker role again. That's the thing. The timing seems a bit weird.
It does seem a bit weird, but like I said this, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I've said this since the day the transfer window closed. I felt there was something wrong. I felt there was something wrong at Spurs. I felt the relationship between Pochettino and Levy wasn't right. I also felt, my opinion was that they were signing players without his, not a say so, but basically saying to him, "This is what you have. This is what we're getting." And I'm not too sure he was too happy about that. But I know where you're coming from. Like literally 4 days before you have a game. It might be 5 days. They may play on Sunday. I'm not too sure. But
they've got early kickoff against West Ham just checked on Saturday.
Saturday morning. West Ham away.
Away, yeah. So West Ham away, 12:30 kickoff, and a temporary manager in charge.
Yeah. Has a temporary manager been announced?
Not yet, not I've seen. So I mean, half his backroom staff's gone as well. So
they did remove 3 of his backroom staff, and they did say an update on the coaching staff will be basically told in due time. So obviously something was there. Kev O'Sullivan says the timing is pretty shocking. The day before the players report back, I did see Tim Sherwood's name mentioned, and I thought that would be absolutely epic. Mr. Bolognese says I think they should get Nagelsmann, though I doubt he will leave Leipzig.
They had Chris Williams on Twitter before. He's a Liverpool fan, but he does German reporting, and he said there's no chance in hell they'll get Nagelsmann. I think he's only just gone to Leipzig, but I think he's being touted as a future Bayern manager in a few years' time.
Okay. You mentioned Bayern there, like Pochettino leaves there. It looks like, to me, the way it's worded, he's relieved of his duties, and it was a difficult decision and stuff like that. But is it a bit? For me, it's a bit
bit convenient, isn't it?
Bit trigger happy. I know they've had a very difficult start of the season. It hasn't been good. I think they've 3 wins in the Premier League from 12 games. It has been difficult, but this is a guy that's kept them in the top 4 constantly, got them to the European Cup final.
Yeah. It's probably the best Spurs side. I'm 36 now, so probably in my lifetime of the Premier League, so the last 20 years, I don't know of a better Spurs side. Even that before that, they're probably closer to the Redknapp side, but even that was not a patch on this.
Yeah, no, it's just a really strange one for me. For Pochettino himself, what do you think? Because I just thought Bayern Munich straight away.
You do, yeah. I mean, that seems to be the most obvious link, unless he wants to do a bit of a Klopp and a Pep, and he wants 6 months off. Because I don't know whether he's a bit burnt out after Spurs, and maybe he thinks if he wants to go to another big job, say if he wants to go to a Bayern or a Juventus or come back to England. If he goes to that sort of level of club, it's again a lot of effort. You see, even Klopp admits, look after Liverpool takes a lot out of you, and I just don't know whether Spurs he needs a break. I mean, go back to what you said about the summer. When you look back now, there's probably a couple of trigger points where you think something's not quite right. There was Danny Trippier.
Yeah, like Kevin Trippier.
Sorry.
Kevin Sullivan says there, Levy is the problem, allowing too many players to run down their contracts. It sells Trippier with no replacement.
Well, the thing with Trippier was he got interviewed and he said like, "Oh, are you sad to leave Spurs?" And he said, "Oh, it's the right time to go." He said, "There's things going on there," but I can't talk about them right now.
Yeah.
At first, it was just a bit of bitterness that he left, but there's clearly something going on that he doesn't like. But I can't take credit for this. It was a point I think Neil Atkinson made in the Anfield Wrap, and when you think about it in hindsight now, it's probably right, which was starting Harry Kane in the final. Yes, he is their talisman, but that was planning for I need to win this now.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about the future. And you don't know whether there's quite a few players whose noses will put out of joints. Lucas Moura, I scored a hat-trick to get you to the Champions League final. One we've never been in. I'm arguably one of your better players. And I sit on the bench for Harry Kane, who's barely moved for 3 months because he's got no ankle.
Yeah. Kevin Sullivan said he'd nearly plumped for Ancelotti. Probably not a bad show considering Napoli are just trying to destroy themselves internally.
I think it's...
It's Mourinho for me.
I'll get pelters for this, but I think Ancelotti's a bit of a yesterday's man now. I think he's a bit like Rafa. I think he's gone beyond the elite club now, or going for a big club. I'm not saying good, but a big club. Mourinho, I just can't see it working.
I don't know what way that goes because, like, Pádraig O'Callaghan says Mourinho and Levy won't go well together. Kevin Sullivan says Bayern should be on a plane to London tonight, but maybe the beating they handed Spurs dampened his start. That's not a bad point either. Force Music says, evening all, good evening, my man. Let me see. That's a really hard name to read. Let me have a go. Wahil Maharouf. That's my best attempt at it. He says Mourinho to Spurs. I think that's the name going around at the moment.
That seems to be the favourite, but the favourites don't always come in. I think for us, our favourite was Ancelotti. The thing I don't get with Mourinho was Porto the last club he was at where he didn't have like mega money, and in fact Porto were the richest side probably in Portugal. When was the last time he went to a club that had no money?
Yeah, and you see it's very strange. Like I genuinely think if Mourinho went in there, he'd sell Harry Kane, and he'd just go, there's the biggest ego in the dressing room, going back to that point you made about the final and playing Harry Kane over Lucas Moura. He'd probably go in and go, I've no money, I'll sell him, 200 million, give us it in, I'll pick up 4 players to add to this squad here, and I can go and get us top 4, which is not actually too unrealistic when you look through the squad. The problem you do have, though, is the likes of Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Danny Rose must be close to his contract running down. Maybe Mourinho might make him think, well, I might stay. Yeah, you never know.
I mean, from a selfish Liverpool point of view, I don't think it'll happen, but I'd quite like Liverpool now take advantage of the situation, have a quiet word in Sonzer.
Yeah, well, we did see tweets today of videos of Bobby, South Korea playing Brazil, and Bobby and Fabinho having little words there with him. I wouldn't read too much into it, but people like to.
No,
people like to.
No, you wouldn't read it. But if Liverpool was smart and they're saying and they want to, do they want to push this league title? Having one more belter on the side is not a bad thing. And Son he knows the league. He's an absolute workhorse. Could play wide left, could play wide right, could play through the middle. It feels like a bit of a no-brainer if you could get him. Obviously, the fee would be the problem, and dealing with Levy is also the problem. I know a lot of clubs don't like to deal with him.
Yeah, like
because he's a pet.
there's Maverick says Son 2020. I'd be all over Son, and I've seen loads of stuff today about Jadon Sancho and he wants Liverpool and stuff. If it was a choice right now, I'd take Son over Jadon Sancho all day long, and I don't care about ages, and I don't care about years in the future, stuff like that. For me, Son is the answer. If you want to come up with a player attacking for Liverpool.
I've not seen enough of Jadon Sancho to know how good he is or what his potential is. A lot of people tell me he's very, very good. Cool. But I haven't seen enough of him to know, is he what's his trick, what's his style of play, where would he play for us, how's he fit in? I mean, look, I don't have to worry about that. That's a Jurgen Klopp decision.
Yeah, it's just Maverick says Jose is not the answer. It'll be like a slow motion car crash. Force says I don't see Mourinho to Spurs. I really don't. The way Spurs operate does it really suit Mourinho's MO? Probably not. PW said we should take Son to Blackpool. Yeah, we know what happens when Liverpool bring players to Blackpool. We usually get caught. To be honest with you,
apparently Gerrard's 14-1.
Gerrard.
Yeah, I don't see it.
No, either way.
It's a cheap link, but it's good. Do you know who I'd love to see? Because it'd be even funnier than Mourinho Levy. Would be Rafa. Can you imagine Rafa versus Levy in the press?
It would be literally. But the only thing is, I'd back Rafa to take Levy down, seeing as that he's dealt with Mike Ashley for 3 to 4 years. Kev O'Sullivan says, sorry, but I go out and break the bank for Gnabry over anyone. He's in some form. He's in some form at Bayern. But look, I'm not going into all different players that we should sign. It's just people are going to go on about Son because what's going on with Spurs and stuff like that. Maverick says he just doesn't see how Jose fits into Spurs. Son would suit us all day long, says Tony Tucker. Force says Kovac is like Poch. He can build a team without spending huge amounts. That's the way Spurs work. It is going to be a difficult one for Spurs unless they have said, look, we do have money there. We approached the summer wrong and we spent wrong, but there is money there. But let's be honest about it. The amount that stadium cost them doubled in price from what it was originally going to be. And I know it's a fantastic arena and stuff like that, and they're throwing NFL on it. But you can throw as many events as you want. It just doesn't make up for the amount of money you've spent. Not for a long, long time. Maverick says, heck, I take Son and Sancho. Sell Lallana, Shaqiri and Wilson. Yeah, okay. But... Do you know what, Chris?
Well, if we're doing that, I'll take Mbappe.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and I'll take Messi on loan if we can get a deal done.
It'd be a good squad player for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Can he play left back? Because I know Robbo's there for the weekend. But the big thing for me to come out, and I was sitting here thinking about it for the last hour or so, and I thought, watching this all unfold, like Poch, could he go to Bayern? Mourinho, could he go to Spurs? What do United fans do after backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and blaming everybody else but him on their form? What do they do if they United decide to bite the bullet and sack him and bring in Pochettino? And I actually believe that there's something in Solskjaer's contract that says if A, B or C become available, we're allowed to do that. But sitting here, I thought, what a great spot for Liverpool to be in. This was us going back 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 years, wherever you want it to be, when you look at certain managers being brought in and stuff like that, like the whole debacle around Houllier, for argument's sake, sharing the job with Evans. Hodgson was an absolute disaster. Rodgers ended very badly, and Rodgers is quite similar when you look at Liverpool going so close to the title and falling apart the following season, and there was an awful lot about who was signing who, and that's quite similar to Spurs. But isn't it great to be a Liverpool fan and look at this and go, that's miles away from us. It's galaxies away from where we are at the minute.
Well, it is. I mean, there is a sliding doors moment where after the Kiev situation, we go to Poch, get the transfers wrong. Klopp has enough. We have enough of Klopp, and we all go.
Yeah.
The
heads go and everything falls apart. Yeah.
There's enough evidence of the past that Liverpool have done that, gone close and then fell apart. So this is probably the first time in a sustained period where even when we've had a knock, we've reacted in the right way.
Yeah, no, so, absolutely. Like it just seemed like, and you hear this said all the time, we're a club that from top to bottom are pulling in the one direction. For me, Spurs don't feel like that. I think there's an element of the money men are saying, hold on, we've spent an awful lot here, we can't do this. I just always got a feeling after that transfer window, especially with the signing of Lo Celso and Sessegnon late on, and it just felt a bit token. We're doing a bit of jiggery pokery here to try dress something up. Like they openly they more or less openly said Danny Rose could go if they got the right offer. Serge Aurier was unwanted, and then they sold Trippier, and Serge Aurier is playing a lot of games for Spurs now, even though he was unwanted. It just felt like a complete miscommunication, or somebody pulled the plug halfway through a plan and went, "Oh, hold on, this is a complete reshuffle." And the likes of Trippier, luckily enough, went, "I'm out of here." You know what I mean?
It feels a bit like Rodgers last summer, where it was very scattergun, and there was lots of talk with Rodgers was, okay, I'll let you sign Firmino if I can have Benteke.
Yeah.
So they buy him Benteke, but then he sells all his wingers. So you're going, that's not going to work, is it?
No.
Benteke only works with wingers. That sort of stuff. I'm just having a look at see if there's any interesting odds. Do you know who might be the most interesting one I've seen so far mentioned is the Wolves boss.
Oh yes, Espirito Santo.
Yeah, he feels like he could be a bit like what Pochettino did at Southampton.
Yeah,
did a really good job and was probably ready for the next step. Now it's whether he'd leave Wolves. He's finally got Wolves back into Europe for the first time. I don't know when they last played in Europe. But he feels like that could be the type of manager actually who, maybe is what Spurs would want.
Yeah, somebody there mentioned Brendan Rodgers. I'd say Spurs are looking at that and saying to themselves, if we could have pulled the plug in the summer and got Brendan Rodgers, even though he'd only been at Leicester a couple of months. But Rodgers might be. People make out that Rodgers at Leicester he has a plan and stuff like that. Listen, Rodgers was at Celtic and he was on the course for a treble or whatever it was. He had the freedom of the green half of Glasgow anyway, and he was a messiah, and he could have stayed there and went, and they're going for 9 titles in a row now. I think 10 is the record, and he could have stayed there and done that. But he went to Leicester. Obviously, it is a bigger profile because of the league they're in and stuff, but they're not a bigger club than Celtic. I think the Spurs one suits. I think Brendan Rodgers fits Spurs really, really well.
See, I don't. I think Leicester is perfect for Rodgers for two reasons. There are two reasons I think it is. One is they've got a goal scorer, which we had Luis Suarez. They've got Jamie Vardy, and he builds his team around it. But that Leicester side is very young, and it's developing young players. Which, to be honest, is what Rodgers is. Like him all over. Some people loathe him. I don't get it, but But the one thing that the guy is really good at is he's really good at developing young players and getting them to jump to 2 or 3 levels. You saw how he did that. Sterling, even Ibe to a point. He got tunes out of Flanagan that no one's ever got out of him since.
Yeah.
And I just think, when you look at the likes of Maddison, Damari Gray, those sort of players, Pereira's not as young, but Chilwell, he's getting into a level that the 2 previous managers could not get them to. And I look at the Spurs side and thinking, who are the young players he's really going to get a tune out of? They've got lots of what I would call like neat and tidy players. Winks, he's a good player.
Yeah.
But you're not going to build I could be proved wrong, but you're not going to build your side around Harry Winks. Ericsson, very talented player, clearly doesn't want to be there. Ali has dropped off a cliff for the last 2 years. I'm not quite sure. It just feels that squad's come to end of its life cycle and needs a complete overhaul. And I don't think that's Rodgers' strength.
It does feel like that, and it felt like that after the Champions League final. Like that's the max you're going to get out of this. You need to freshen it up, and when they went to freshen it, it went completely and utterly wrong. Like signing a lad off Leeds that they send back on loan. Lo Celso, I don't know anything about fucking Lo Celso. Sessegnon, okay in the Premier League, doesn't really know what position he wants to play, if you're being honest. He's in there. Who else did he sign? Ndombele.
Looks a good player.
For me, he does look a good player. But again, they're looking can't stay fit, and they're looking at centre halves where the one wants out, one has a release clause, and one wants out. They've right backs there that don't want to be there, and they've a left back that just doesn't really like football, and Danny Rose. So it seemed that they needed to freshen it, and they were probably restricted because of the stadium stuff, so that made it difficult. Chilk says Eddie Howe ?
He's second favourite. I think he's third favourite. Sorry.
Yeah. He'll always get a mention when it comes to the likes of Spurs.
Is Eddie Howe the new Alan Kirbishley?
I don't know, but
as in, he seems to get mentioned with every job going, but never seems to
get close
to it ever.
Yeah. I think it's a media thing where they'd love like
an English
an
lad.
English manager to get a big job like that, and that's just and that's just the way it goes. But Traz says Roger's egos must be drooling over the thoughts of the Spurs job. You see, that's where I'm thinking. That's the line I'm going with. And also, Traz asks, can Spurs afford not to make the Champions League? That's a very good question as well. That's where I think it comes back to Mourinho, because Mourinho would walk in there and go, I'll drag you to top four. And he would walk in there and listen, even if he doesn't believe it, he'd make them believe it 100%. Force says Spurs to get Tim Sherwood back. That's my dream, absolute dream.
The Gilet King.
Yeah, the Gilet King.
Did you see him getting shown up on over the weekend over the City game? He did his prediction about City Liverpool.
Oh, I've seen it.
He said the way Liverpool are playing and the way City play, City will put we'll put manners on Liverpool.
Yeah.
And show that, and he could just see when they brought it. You could watch someone squirming in the seat.
Yeah.
It was quite fun.
Yeah.
It was quite funny.
Maverick says Ndombele, Son, Kane, a young Sessegnon. That's all Spurs have. It just feels like they've gone from car crash to car crash here over a short period of time, and it's coming to fruition now with Pochettino going. I still think it's the wrong decision. I think you put the position they're in now. You can say, okay, look, we're gonna have, they're way off Champions League spots. Way off. It'd take a miracle for them to get in there now. It's just one of those. But look, we leave the Spurs thing alone. I'm sure that'll develop over the next couple of days. Just back to Liverpool, and I want to have a little chat about the Liverpool ladies, because I know you go to the games. I know you bring your daughter. I know Anfield on Sunday was a big thing for you. 23,500 people there, and Liverpool done everything they could but win the game. And the keeper makes a howler, and just one of those. But apart from the result, overall, brilliant to see such a crowd at a women's game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, people laugh at this, but it was quite emotional, seeing that many people there to go and watch this side who, they deserve bigger crowds. What they get, I know they lost. It's the best they played all season. They absolutely did everything but score, and unfortunately, that's been the problem all season. It's a young side, and they're just sometimes not getting the breaks, not getting the luck. It's an absolute howler by the keeper, and I felt for her because she's been arguably our best player this year. She's kept us in a lot of games and kept scores down, and it was just such a cruel thing. They deserved it. If they got a draw, it'd have been awful. You'd have been really good. So I was really down about it. I was quite grumpy. Obviously, I'm sure you saw my Twitter fallout with a few supposed what I call the World Cup fans.
Yeah.
As in people they haven't probably followed the women's game or the women's teams for long.
Yeah.
Because the World Cup did so well. Great. Got more eyes on the women's team. So you get people, we haven't won in 6. The manager's crap. Get rid of her. And you just think to people like, we had a side that finished 5th, underperformed, but finished 5th.
Yeah.
And 14 of them walked out the club.
Yeah.
Partly because of the manager and the behind-the-scenes nonsense with the club.
Yeah.
And they all now play for Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea.
Yeah.
And we had to rebuild a brand new squad from scratch.
Yeah.
Got players from a lower division, give players a chance, and then the new manager we had left after one game because of, depending who you listen to, politics behind the club. So then we had one of the brightest up-and-coming coaches who's been at Liverpool for 15 years, something like that, thrown in and gone, right, keep us up. Brand new general manager, right, keep us up. And again, this year, there isn't masses of investment. And then everyone goes, well, we should be getting to 6. And if this was an end game, she'd get sacked. I was thinking, if you said to Klopp now, we're going to ship out 14 of your first teamers, replace with players from, teams from, not top 4 sides.
Yeah.
And then goes to, but why aren't you in the Champions League?
Yeah.
You'd all go, well, obviously. And unfortunately, I've hence you've seen me. I've come off social media a little bit because I just can't be doing with nonsense that I can see on there.
Yeah, look, it's I know the result was negative, but to see that for the women's game on Merseyside as a whole, I thought was brilliant, and hopefully you see a game of Goodison in the next Merseyside derby if that can be made possible, and maybe a United at Anfield, stuff like that. And
I mean, to give Everton credit, you can't knock them defensively. That was brilliant. It was bodies on the line. It was throwing themselves at it. They thought tooth and nail to stop Liverpool getting anything. You know, and look, that's the aim. That's the name of the game, and we kind of knew that would be the problem. It was definitely one of those first goal games. First goal was so crucial, but you know they've got to kick on. You know, I love the manager's reaction post match. She was really bullish.
Yeah,
as in like, I think she swore on TalkSport. I think it may have been along the lines of blue shite. I think was the phrase that came out.
Yeah,
which I'm all for. But it was bullish of like a bit Klopp-esque, a bit like, yes, we got beat, but did you see that performance? Did you see how great these girls are?
Yeah.
Come and see us at Tranmere. We'll keep that level up, and we will go on, and we aren't giving up.
Yeah,
and kind of
it's a very low base you're starting from. Like when you tell of all the situation there that's gone on, all the permutations, the people leaving, and players and backroom staff, managers. You know, it's a very low base to start from. So you can't. I know it's Liverpool Football Club and people expect certain levels, but you have to be realistic at the same time. Kevin Sullivan says the winger that come on looks a real talent. You can't remember her name.
Rinzola Babajide.
Okay.
Who is
Brilliant
a
name.
under-19 international. She's absolutely rapid. Lovely. Met her quite a few times. She's really good with Olivia. Just very raw.
Yeah.
As is the other young winger we have, Niamh Charles. Again, another local Scouse girl. Has a bit of the Steve McManaman running style about her.
Yeah.
It's probably the best way to compare it to a men's player is when McManaman used to get the ball and just glide past players.
Yeah.
She has that about her. What she probably lacks is a bit of composure, but she's 19. Not many 19-year-olds are erratic.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, look, when the games keep coming for the women's team, I always check on you every week, and whenever we have you on, we like to have a little update on it, because at the end of the day, they're still representing Liverpool, you know.
The one thing I would say, just because I know it sounds like being a bit down, so I'll just to balance it out, is they don't play like a team that are bottom of the league. And the ironic thing of this league is it's a bit like the men's division at the moment. The top three are the top three, but despite Liverpool only having a draw in 6 games, and we're on 1 point. To finish the team the team who were third bottom are on 2 points.
Yeah.
So you literally, I know it sounds cliche, you are literally one result away from jumping 3 places.
Exactly.
It's ridiculously tight. That's why I've not been as downhearted. I was quite downhearted because of the occasion. It would have just been quite nice for that big occasion to get the result they deserve from the performance. That's where I was a bit.
Yeah, but I think they've come out of it with a lot of credit. Anyone I've listened to, any commentator on it, seems to have given Liverpool a lot of credit over it. And to be honest, listening to you over the weeks when I do ask you about it, on air and off air, the impression I get is that it's a team that believe in themselves and they believe they will get there. Maverick says, Arsenal Fan TV are celebrating apparently. Is this because, I don't know what they're celebrating for, their manager is next. Jer Cahill says, and I'll do my best to read this, Fam, blood, fam, you get me. Poch gone in it. AFTV. It's one of those.
He forgot behave.
Behave.
Is it? I can't remember the guy's name. He always has behave. The funniest one I heard, it would never happen. But if this happened, I would subscribe to Arsenal TV for forever, which was Wenger to Tottenham. Could you? Do you know what? It'd just be worth it for that. You just have Arsenal Fan TV on loop.
Wenger to Tottenham and to turn up with £1 billion from UEFA just to write off the loan against the stadium, and then wins Tottenham the North London derby. Could you imagine? Yeah, gets Tottenham into the top 4 and wins an FA Cup or something.
Yeah, that would be like Klopp quitting us and rocking up at Everton.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be it's that level of despair it would cause.
Dunno straight in there as soon as Emery is mentioned and says good evening. Yeah, listen, that's going to last forever, Dunno, to be honest with you. If anyone has any random questions for the last 5 minutes, absolutely throw them in because we love them, and they're probably still my favourite thing to do. But look, Chris, just moving on, and before we get any random questions thrown at us, if we do, we're looking at Palace now at the weekend, and as I always do, regardless of whether you're on a Tuesday night or a Friday night, I'll always look for a lineup and a score prediction. What way do you see this game going? How are you feeling about it? Early days in the week, I suppose, but how are you feeling about it? Dunno's getting a bit aggressive there. I don't know why. I don't know whether he's calling us cunts or whether it's somebody else. I'm sorry for saying that word for anybody that doesn't like it.
Isn't it a very famous way that Cockneys say it? That's how they refer to it, isn't it? Yeah, if you say it with a K instead of a.
Well, he spelled it correctly. I just don't know.
No, but it's how they pronounce it. It sounds like you say it with a K.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going with.
Well,
or maybe he's talking about me.
Maybe he's talking. Well. Maybe he's talking about me too. The chances are he is talking about me. But just how are you feeling about this? Like we spoke on the club podcast last night that it looks like most of the players, if not all of them, are back. Free of injury. A little bit of an issue there with Joe Gomez and what happened, but we're not going to go into that. But how are you feeling approaching this game? Palace lost their form over the last little while. We go away. It's a nice time for a kick-off for me. And I suppose 3 parts to this. How are you feeling about it? What's your lineup and what's your prediction?
I'm quite relaxed about it, really. I think it's a game. I know it sounds weird because we've got an 8-point gap, but it feels like a must-win. In the sense of
they all do, don't they?
They all do, but I think I've always felt more Liverpool in the past rather than under Klopp. But if you get a massive win, like you beat a City, you beat United, you beat a rival for where you want to be. If you back that up with a win, I think the City result contextualises as a bigger result. Whereas I think if you drop points after it, although you still have a gap, it does feel a bit like. It goes back to feels a bit like an opportunity missed. And with them playing Chelsea at home, and I think they'll beat Chelsea at home because I do think Chelsea's one weakness is probably away from home against top 6 rivals. Mm-hmm. I still think that's an area Chelsea are developing because they're a young squad, and it depends which one. I mean, this is still the same Chelsea that got smashed at Man United. I know they're a different side, so I'm feeling like a 2-0 Liverpool win. If the likes of Robertson and Salah are all fit. Mm-hmm. I'm very relaxed. I think Liverpool will find a way. If they're not fit and we have to fill in with Milner at right back, probably tweak a formation a little bit to cover for the Salah loss, then I still think we'll win. But it might feel more like the Villa game where it might be like when we beat them 2-0 last year, where we got an early goal and the second comes right at the end. It's a bit nervy. One of those horrible games you don't really want. But I feel like if you had the full squad fit, then I feel like it would, in theory, be more of a comfortable 2-0, as in like we might go 2-0 and then manage the game.
Yeah.
That's how I feel at the moment about it.
Okay. Kevin Sullivan says put 3 points in before Chelsea versus City is massive pressure on both of them. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. I think,
a draw in that game, City Chelsea being a draw would be perfect.
Absolutely would be on the money. Absolutely on the money.
Unfortunately, I think Leicester got an easy game as well.
I don't know. Brighton away can be difficult at times, and they haven't been as bad as people make out. But they were poor at Old Trafford last week. But it's taking everything into consideration with Robertson, Salah. What lineup do you see Liverpool putting out this weekend?
Okay, if Robbo and Salah are fit, they start, and I think Chamberlain will play for one of. We'll probably play instead of Henderson, just only because I don't think Henderson's well. Mm-hmm. I still think he's suffering from something. Mm-hmm. If they're not fit, which is a big if, then I think we go Alisson, Trent, Lovren, Van Dijk, Milner, mm-hmm. And then I'd switch the midfield up. I'd go 4-3-1-2, and I'd play the midfield 3 of Keita, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and I'd tell Chamberlain just to play behind Firmino and Mane.
Okay.
I also would quite like to do that just because it's not 4-3-3. It's still very attacking. And it'd be great going into this run where we're going to play the likes of, on paper, teams we should beat, the likes of Palace, Brighton. They're teams we should be beating. Mm-hmm. But they all expect us, like we always do, all Liverpool always play 4-3-3. Like City always play 4-3-3. But if you're ever again you're throwing a 4-3-1-2 or a 4-4-2, but as a diamond or as a box, it just throws people, keeps people guessing. It gets the likes of Napoli going, well, they switched formations last week and they won. So which formation they're going to play? And with those sort of players, you can play 3 or 4 different formations. I just think it's good every now and again just to keep a team guessing. Listen, I'm not Jurgen Klopp. He'll probably tell me I'm talking broken biscuits, and it doesn't matter. But that's the sort of feeling I have.
The chances are you are and I am. Dunno asks, Fox's chocolate bars, where have they gone? Yeah, Jesus. Are they the Fox's classic ones that are kind of like square, but they were beautiful? I know when you're talking about Dunno, and I am going to go out and have a little scout for them because I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's brought me back, and they are They were sensational. Avo the Tour says, don't you think Chamberlain could replace Salah in his form?
Not on the wing. I don't think he's.
I'm against them being in the front three. I'm being honest. But if you were to play some sort of 4-2-2-2, and you got Mane and say Firmino up front, and you could put players in around him, then yeah, he could do something. I just don't like seeing him. I like to see him getting the ball face and play. That's just the way I am.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want Origi starting because unfortunately for Origi, it's not fortunate, sorry, because it's a fortunate position anyone would like to be. He's become a bit of the perfect sub. And that's how, it sounds like I'm damning him with fake praise, but as in the way he plays, because he's so direct, he's so big, he's so physical. I think half an hour ago, the last thing a fullback wants is some big 6'5" Belgian lad coming on who is big, direct, fast, strong, and all he does is gets the ball and he'll run at you and run at you and run at you. And I just think as a fullback, he's just like, I just don't need that.
Donald's gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. He said, "Gav, would you take Poch over Pep Linders?" I made a prediction going back a couple of months ago that if Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool in 2022, I believe Pochettino will be his replacement. So we'll have to wait and see.
I think it was the answer up on Liverpool.com floated the idea of, would you go for Pep if Klopp left?
No,
because in 2 years' time, Pep's not going to be at City.
He would wreck your head as much as Mourinho would. And you see, this is the perception of I should have had Phil on to discuss this because he hates Guardiola. But he would burn your head out as much as Mourinho would, just in a different way. You'd play a better style of football, but if anything goes against you, he's literally going to go on ridiculous like he did last week. No, he's not for me. He's not for me. Deep's ask, is Shaq back? Apparently he's back in training. So
he's back in full training, isn't he? So
yeah.
So he'll probably sit in the stand at the weekend.
Yeah, and listen, but having said that, if you have him back in training and you're getting him back, because when we go into December, it's going to get really, really heavy.
I think this is where you see. I think it's where you see Shaq get used now.
Yeah,
because. But even at the end of the day,
pencil him in for Villa away.
Yeah, he might get a game then, possibly.
Yeah, may do. Let me see. Dunno says 2 times. Dunno, I don't know what's going on tonight. I really don't, man. You've called me names. You've asked me about chocolate bars. You've asked me about Pochettino and Linders, and they've just shouted 2 times at me 2 times. I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
Next question for you. What's your favourite? What I would call I call it a fridge, like a chocolate biscuit, the sort of biscuit you store in the fridge, like Clubs or Trio or
a purple snack.
Purple snack. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's a Trio. I've found Trios again.
Don't know them.
Just Trio of they are chocolate biscuit, but they've got a small layer of toffee on top.
Okay.
Like a toffee, and they are lovely.
Okay.
If you get hold of them, mate, they're well worth a try.
Okay. I feel like Aldi or Lidl would be great for that sort of stuff. Down the middle aisle, the random food section. To be honest with you. Oh, sorry, Dunno. I'm with you. He's shouting 2 times. Pep 2 times. Yeah. Now I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Sorry, I thought you were just gone completely off the rails. But look, that's us for tonight. That's the Fatback 4 Daily. I will be back tomorrow night. The guest is yet unknown, but it will be 10 p.m. I promise. Kev O'Sullivan wants a double decker. Traz says trios.
Ooh, lovely.
Traz says trios were good. So let me see. Dunno's flashing the V sign at me now. Look, it's a love-hate relationship. I feel like me and Dunno have. But yeah, that's
very
it.
Very passive aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah, but look, I like him. What's your favourite type of Toblerone? The original one, I think, is the best one. There is a kind of fruit and nut version one, isn't there? And there may be even a dark chocolate version. But the original one, the big massive one, is the.
There is one that is the normal Toblerone, but it's white chocolate on top of them. Yeah, that is quite special.
I still think the original is best. Power to gas that question. But look, that's us. As I said, I'll be back tomorrow. The guest yet unknown, but I will sort something out before 10 p.m. tomorrow. Thursday night, I know Peter Smith is in with me. Friday night, I think a Crystal Palace fan is going to join me and have a chat before the game on Saturday. So look, go and follow us on Twitter. Go onto YouTube and subscribe. We're on Spotify, we're on everything. So go and subscribe, follow, interact, send us your tweets, send us your comments, everything. Do all that sort of stuff. And enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. Chris, thanks a million for joining me.
No worries, thanks for having me, mate.
No problem at all. And listen, it's been good. Everyone head off, get your favourite bar of chocolate, and just enjoy yourself. Over now.